any third-party APIs it may be connected to. That basically means now the LLM is not taking the responsibility in answering the answer directly. Instead, it is being dependent on some kind of external tool out there, right? Now, I hope everybody is able to understand hallucination, right? Now, why this hallucination actually happens? So one of the major reason I've told you, obviously there is a training cutoff date, okay? Training cutoff date. Let's say my LLM is not been trained. My LLM is not being trained with sufficient amount of data. Sufficient amount of data. So this scenario may also happen, right? I was just seeing as soon as GPT-5 got launched, someone was trying to answer, hey Krish, hey LLM, what is 8.11 minus 8.90? Okay. Or sorry, 8.9. Okay. So this kind of questions were also basically getting asked, and LLM was not able to generate the output. It was giving a wrong answers. Why this is basically happening? Because similar kind of examples, the LLM may have not been sufficiently trained. So there also it is starting to hallucinate. It is giving you some wrong answers. It will generate a kind of answer. It will say that, hey, this is the right answer. And then suddenly you will say that, hey, you're not telling it right. Then it will start thinking, and it'll have some kind of, back off theorem, which may be applied out there for the LLM models, and it will try to give some other answers out there, right? So that is the main reason. Now, how do we go ahead and prevent this LLM hallucination, right? See, one basic example for companies, see, when LLM is giving you some wrong answer, it is fine. But when you're developing some applications, right? This kind of generative AI application or AI, agentic AI applications, or you're developing AI agents for companies, right? It is always better that whenever you try to use some kind of LLM, you try to integrate this LLM with external RAG system, right? So let's say that this is my vector store. It can be a vector databases, and this is what you're basically connected to. So whenever a question is asked to an LLM related to any info, right? I'm not talking about public. I'm talking about companies, right? It is always good that LLM is connected to a RAG system. Here I have a vector databases. And for this particular vector databases, we may get some kind of context information, and then this LLM will be able to generate the output, right? And that is where your RAG system come into picture, right? RAG comes into picture because we do not want LLM to hallucinate. If it does not know some kind of answers, it is just going to go ahead and call some kind of tools, external databases out there, and it can also call this vector databases that is available within the company. So here now LLM is only not dependent on generating the answer, but it is also dependent on asking, hey, do I have any tools or anything binded with along with me, right? And that is what it makes LLM hallucination to probably get reduced. You cannot remove completely, right? You cannot remove LLM hallucination completely. Let's say that if I've asked any kind of questions and from this specific tools, we did not get any context, then also LLM will not keep quiet. It will take this specific context and it will generate the output. Okay. And it will generate the output. It will create its own output. It will create its own output. Okay. So we cannot 100% remove hallucination. Instead, we can reduce it. We can reduce it by, let's say, 20 to 30%. We can reduce it to 20 to 30%. In most of the cases, we may be able to improve our accuracy by 5 to 10%, right? So this kind of scenarios basically happen. So that is the reason now everybody is focusing in moving towards RAG application, wherein they are creating retrievers, they are creating agents, which will be able to do the task. And that task, whatever these agents or retriever are doing, will provide the necessary context to the LLM to generate the output. Now, LLM is only not generating the output based on its wish, but instead based on the response that it is being able to get from the tools or the databases. Now, this is just a 5 to 10 minutes video on making you understand about LLM hallucination